Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the daily dose of pop culture and movie news all in one place, the wrap-up, hosted by me, Mr. H Reviews. On today's show, we'll be looking at Mark Hamill's Child's Play reboot remake by MGM, the design, some comments that he's made about getting involved with the film, and again, specifically the design, because it's really, really bad. And I also want to hear your thoughts on this, but we'll also just give you a brief history of how this film's even come around, because it's fascinating. It's really, really fascinating. We also have some comments made about the production of Netflix's prequel series to The Dark Crystal, The Age of Resistance, along with some Star Wars 9, The Rise of Skywalker news, which could be considered to be quite troubling, but then also, you know, all kind of by the by and somewhat interesting. And then we've got some comments about Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek film, which is kind of confirmed now to be R-rated, and maybe going ahead, again, because there's some comments that are coming out surrounding it. So we'll get to that in a second. But guys, straight from the top, if you want to skip right ahead, please do just check out the timestamps down below in the description box and linked in a pinned comment down below. So guys, let's talk Chucky, Child's Play. Now, brief history. The original movie, the rights are all over the place. MGM somehow have found a loophole in the rights where they, as a studio, can remake the original film. However, and this is really, really important, however, what spanned from the original film, so Child's Play 2, Chucky's, and all that kind of stuff, is still continuing via Don Mancini and Universal. And Brad Dourif, no less. And that continuity is then being continued even further into a TV series. So this is what I mean by it's utterly fascinating. You have Chucky, Child's Play, TV series, movies by Universal, Don Mancini, and the TV series is rumoured to be on Sci-Fi. So that's one thing. And then you've got a remake, which is not going to be anything to do with anything else. A brand new, complete new continuity, but they've kept the goddamn design. Even so much so that the outfit's the same. And it's all about AI. And if this is not fascinating, I don't know what is. This is just staggering. And what a terrifying image. He looks awful. My personal opinion, it looks like a melted waxwork, a bad waxwork figure. He looks really bad. And the one thing going for this film is Mark Hamill was doing the voice. But when Mark Hamill was announced to doing the voice, everyone was like, yeah, great. That's great. Fantastic news. Because, of course, Mark Hamill is a established voice actor. He has been the iconic voice of the Joker for years. And he's great. But then we heard his voice for this. And he's just doing a Brad Dourif impression. Almost, in my eyes. So I think it's a real shame. But the comments that came out surrounding this are all to do with Mark Hamill getting involved in the project. So he stated, I got a letter from Lars. He already laid out his vision for the film before I read it. And then they sent me this script. And I thought the crucial element that was different from the original, which I love, I'm a huge fan of Brad's interpretation, Chucky has a different origin. So again, for those that don't know, he's not a voodoo doll. He's not a soul trapped in a thing. He's an AI. Which could lead to some very interesting scenes and a manipulation of tech around him and things like that. So it could be interesting, without a shadow of a doubt. But he says, so it's not a soul of a serial killer, but someone deliberately goes in and alters his operating system and takes off the safety measures. Which is, again, part of the leaks which came out surrounding like a Chinese factory worker that did this and then goes and kills himself. So I don't really understand what was going on, or even why that's part of the kind of story with respect to him just murdering himself. But, you know, it remains to be seen. We'll see. So he says, we always try and be guided by the script. It was a really sort of open collaboration because I would try maybe 5 takes in a row and do slightly different nuances. The interesting thing is to see them assemble it and what choices they made. It's really like giving them jigsaw puzzle pieces and they can assemble later to their liking. So that's obviously surrounding just the voice acting process. And he says, he was really like an innocent child, really, just learning from what goes on around him. But I thought that was crucial. So that's, again, the development of this AI becoming this psychopath, basically. But again, I think that's an interesting take and could be interesting. I just feel like this is one of those things that you just go like, why was this even proposed? But it remains to be seen. And he says, when I agreed to it, and it sunk in that they wanted me to do this, I felt intimidation like I hadn't felt since I did the Joker. I thought when I auditioned for the Joker, there's no way they're going to cast this icon of virtue, Luke Skywalker, as the Joker. Forget about it. So I had no performance anxiety because I knew they couldn't hire me. It's only when they hired me that I really thought, oh no, I can't do this because so many people have expectations of what he's supposed to sound like. Which I think is great. I think that shows Mark Hamill as just such a likable, nice dude. One of the best guys in Hollywood, absolutely. I didn't feel that kind of intimidation until it sunk in that I was going to be doing this. I love Brad. It's a great responsibility, so I'm anxious to see how people react because it's not the Chucky that we all know from before. But it does sound like the Chucky that we know from before, and that's the main shame about all of this. It really does sound like it. But I hand it on over to you. Is this a movie that you're looking forward to? Have you seen the trailers, the TV spots? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. And what do you think of the design? Like I said, what do you think of that? Because, I mean, that is just... oh, oof. That is Uncanny Valley to another degree. It is real bad. So anyway, like I said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And now let's move on to Netflix's prequel series to The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. So this is courtesy of Empire Online, a great source, although unfortunately a source that can't do a simple Google search for a name. It's not a Skeksis, it is a Skeksis. So they spelt that wrong, which if anyone knows anything about The Dark Crystal, that will probably perturb you as much as it's perturbed me. They had a great interview with the director, the man behind this show, and they also had an awesome image of one of the Skeksis, not Skeksis. A great image. We've seen some of this before, but what a fantastic image. The detail on this puppetry work is staggering. It really is. This holds a candle to the Jim Henson original. Absolutely it does. It really does. What a beautiful piece of puppetry. And that's what the interview was focusing on, actually. It was all about the puppetry work and the choice to go away from CG and go to puppet. So it says, we are throwing everything at this. Nobody's fooled by CG anymore. We know when something is CG. Puppets, we know someone had to work them. And we're pushing puppeteering beyond anything anyone has done before. Which I would probably hasten to agree. If you've seen the teaser trailer, I've done a reaction to it on the channel. But if you look at that teaser trailer, my God, they really are doing an awful lot with puppetry work. There's some CG thrown in there. You can see it. But it's very blatant when you've got the puppetry work. And it's very, very good. So it says, even if you haven't seen the movie, it's still really exciting. So that's good. It just means that, generally speaking, you don't have to have seen the original to know this world, to get involved in this world, which makes sense because it's a prequel series. So why should you have to know any of this stuff from the original movie when this is set in the past? If they've constructed the story in an appropriate fashion, what you're going to get is a story which just opens up the world from the get-go, which then ties to the original later down the line. That's my hopes for this anyway. But I hand it on over to you guys. What do you think? Are you looking forward to this? It drops August 30th, I believe. I think it's in August anyway. So I hand it on over to you. Are you looking forward to this? Is this looking good to you, bad to you? What do you hope to see from this movie? Well, this series now. It's not a movie. What do you hope? And do you also, did you hear about the rumours that this is setting up a multi-season series? So again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And now, let's move on to Star Wars 9. Being edited whilst on set. I don't know whether this is good news or bad news. Really, really baffling. So, while speaking at the Script to Screen series at the Casey Wolf Centre earlier this month, this is from Coming Soon, Brandon discussed what she did on Star Wars 9. Since the schedule was shorter than what she worked on with The Force Awakens, she had to get creative, making up for lost time. Now this, if you're talking about, you know, rushing and making up for lost time and, you know, really trying to set this up for success, this is not the way to go. When we did The Force Awakens, we started in May and we finished shooting in October, and we were out the following Christmas. For this film, we didn't start until August, so we weren't done until February shooting, so we have 4 months less time, and it's a very big film. So I convinced JJ to let me cut on the set. He was like, no, we never do that. And you never do that probably for good reason. Because you don't know what the end film's going to be like. It goes through multiple edits, right? Multiple cuts. And they're just editing it on set. Oh, God. No wonder that trailer did not come across very well. No wonder. They are editing it on set. I don't think this bodes well for the film. I genuinely... 4 months less time for a massive film. Huge film, in fact. I think this really does not bode very well. But I thought I'd bring you this news because I find it funny. They were really... Disney, when they release a release date, they like to stick to it. And that's what they did here. They sacked people off left, right and centre for this film. And then they had to get JJ in at the last minute to get involved. Now they're editing on set. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments section. But let's move on to Star Trek. Now, I can't find the original quotes from this. And the reason is because it is with Empire. So it's in the Empire magazine as far as I'm aware. Because I've followed through and tried to find the exact article and interview that this is from. But he basically just states, there's a script that exists for it now. I need to weigh in on that, but haven't been able to do that yet. Obviously, he's been busy, Quentin Tarantino, with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he says, oh yeah, it's an R-rated movie. If I do it, it'll be R-rated, which is something we knew already, but this further confirms it for us, which I think is great. I genuinely would like to see this movie. A lot of people have their kind of detracting factors and opinions for this project, but me, I really, really am looking forward to this. And I hope it happens. I really do. I hope it happens because I think that this is the way for the Star Trek franchise. Gonna get confused with Star Wars there. The Star Trek franchise to continue with a little bit of new lifeblood breathed into it. But anyway, let's move on now because we have got some viewer questions. If you want to submit your viewer questions to me on this daily dose of pop culture and movie news, the wrap up, please do over at my Gmail, mrhreviews@gmail.com, using the subject line the wrap up, and then hopefully we'll have time to get to some of the viewer questions. So let's dip in the mailbag and see what we've got today. So, first viewer question comes from Jeff. He states, hey there, Mr. H. Just wanted to say I think your channel is awesome, and I love how you don't just agree with reviews just for the sake of agreeing, like with Godzilla. Thanks so much. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like that film. I loved it. A couple or more videos ago, you said movie companies put the same amount of money into marketing that they do for making the movie. I was just wondering how you know that. Like, do you have a friend in the industry, or just a quick Google search? Okay, so... good question, because this has come out surrounding Godzilla King of the Monsters a lot as well. Godzilla King of the Monsters had a rumoured 170 million production budget. We don't know the exact amount, but people say roughly 200 million, but the rumoured exact amount is 170. So the good rule of thumb is that you say it's the production budget doubled. That is the marketing budget. So the overall film, money that this film has cost to make is 170 plus 170. So they roughly did 170 million in marketing. But the reason why we say that, and this is kind of widely regarded, is that you have your 100... say if this is Godzilla King of the Monsters, just for example's sake. 170 million... it's probably not going to be 170 million in marketing. Absolutely not. Yes, it had a lot of marketing, but it didn't have $170 million worth in marketing. There wasn't anywhere near as much posters. Visual marketing wasn't there for this film. There was a lot of videos and TV spots and things, but there wasn't that much actual visual marketing. So it wouldn't have been $170 million. So when I've been saying this film needs to make around 340 million to start making profit, that kind of accounts for the leeway in 170 million not being the overall marketing budget, and then also some of the loss which the foreign markets take from the ticket sales, because people rate domestic markets so much because they get a higher percentage. But then also you got to remember this is an Eastern property, so Toho would likely have some investment in the theatres over in Japan as well, and they would likely be taking some more money from those ticket sales, undoubtedly so. So when people have said this film needs to make 340 million, well no, 400 million to start actually being considered not a flop, you're not really factoring into a lot of things here. So that's hopefully that answers your question. Rambled a little bit, but it's widely regarded to be the given that you double the production budget to see the film making any profit. That's break-even point, and that does take into account the foreign markets. It's a widely regarded industry, mathematical equation to kind of take into account. But anyway, let's move on. Jake emailed in and said, "Hey there, Mr. H. I was just wondering, massively hypothetical question incoming, do you think we'll ever see a series like American Gods based in the UK? Interesting question, dude. With the rich mythology that is in the UK, the series could easily make trips to different areas and explore the mythology there. Sorry for being a nip. I would love to see something... What is a nip? I would love to see something like this, mainly due to my dissertation exploring mythology from an anthropological standpoint in Fife. I love the videos. This new series is brilliant. Thanks so much, dude. Look, well, for starters, good luck on your dissertation in anthropology. I used to be a teacher I used to work in the fitness industry. I worked with anthropologists before. Very, very interesting field to work in. Now, in terms of this, American Gods is based off of a comic series, as far as I'm aware. I think you could, but American Gods is probably successful because it's based on a comic series. So it's already got the material there. But there's no reason why you can't replicate it, and there'll absolutely be some great things to do. Absolutely be some awesome things to kind of follow and explore, and it does have a rich history. You just go through all the various religions that have basically controlled and dominated this world. Romans, for starters, Vikings, Anglo-Saxons, blah, blah, blah. All this kind of stuff. There's so many things you could explore. So yeah, absolutely, I think that would be great. So again, thank you so much for your question. If you want to email in with yours, please do mrhreviews@gmail.com using the subject line, The Wrap Up. But that wraps it up here for me today. I've got nothing else to bring you. So guys, if you enjoyed this show, please do hit that like button and also give this video a share. Guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I've been Mr. H. Take care.